couldn't resist. You're at the last speaker. You've made it this far. When I was 18 years old, I joined the choir for the first time. Before then, I didn't read music. I'd played in a rock band in high school. I played synthesizers, and I played by ear. But I'd never really been exposed to classical music or heard any of it. And when I got to university, a friend of mine said, "You've got to join choir. There are all these cute girls in the soprano section. And at the end of the year, the choir is taking this all-expenses-paid tour to Mexico City." And so I thought, for girls and tequila, I could do just about anything. Actually, I think if you look through most of history, you'll see that men have been motivated by a similar set of circumstances. And I came into choir the first day, and I was shocked. At first, we all started with massages, back massages, and then this way, and then and we were doing this. Any of you who have ever sung in a choir know what I'm talking about. And I was mortified for all of humanity. I couldn't believe that people got together in a room and did this. And the conductor said, "All right, let's open to the Kyrie." Now, I was born a-religiously, not as an atheist, but really with no religion in the house. And I didn't know what a Kyrie was. So sitting in the middle of the bass section, I look over the shoulder, all right, it says Kyrie. And we launch into the Kyrie from the Requiem by Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. Now, if any of you know this, it starts with the basses. So we sing, Kyrie, and then the altos, and then the tenors, then the sopranos come in. And suddenly I find myself in the middle of 4-part counterpoint. This sublime cosmic Swiss watch happening in 3 dimensions around me. And at first I began to kind of tremble. I couldn't sing. And then I started to giggle as the shivers were all down my body, and then I actually started to cry. And I spent the next 50 minutes just breathing deeply as I could, and I left that room utterly transformed. It was as if my entire life I'd been seen in black and white, and suddenly everything was in shocking technicolor. And looking back, more than anything, I think what I felt was, for the first time in my life, part of something larger than myself. And I became the biggest choir geek in the world. I joined men's glee club and the small elite choir, and I started to conduct. And when I was 21, in the 3rd year of my 7-year undergraduate degree, I decided to try and write my very first piece. And I wrote it as best I could, and my friends helped me correct the spelling, the musical spelling, and I gave it to this conductor who had changed my life. And that piece was performed and then published. And I wrote another one to the poetry of Octavio Paz called Cloudburst. That piece was published. And pretty soon I was this published, performed composer. I ended up going to the Juilliard School for my master's degree. And now I live in London, England, where I'm composer in residence at Cambridge University. And I have my own professional choir. And my life is so radically different than I ever could have imagined when I started this adventure 22 years ago. Now, the life of a composer, a classical composer, is a strange one, because you spend all day in a room pushing notes around. And then the piece is finished, you go to the premiere performance, it gets published, and then it goes out into the world. And with the rare exception of people letting you know on Facebook or Twitter that their choir is performing the piece, you never know who the piece might actually be touching. Sometimes it could be performed by hundreds of thousands of people around the world, and you only know a small fraction of the people who have actually performed it. Well, 3 years ago, a friend of mine wrote me an email, and he said, "You have got to see this," and he sent me a link to this video on YouTube.
Hi, Mr. Eric Whitacre. My name is Bretland Lucy, and this is a video that I'd like to make for you. Here's me singing Sleep. I'm a little nervous, just to let you know. If
It was a fan video that Britland had made for me, singing a piece that I'd written called Sleep. She's singing the soprano line to it. And I thought Britland was so innocent and so pure, and her voice was so lovely. I teared up watching it. And by the way, I don't cry all the time. Those are the only 2 times I've ever cried. All right. Sorry, we can move on to the next slide, guys. And so I had this idea watching her video. I thought, if I could somehow get 50 people, say, to do exactly what Britlin is doing, if they were singing their part, soprano, alto, tenor, or bass, and as long as they were singing at the same speed, the same tempo, and in the same key, in the same pitch, if they uploaded their videos to YouTube and we started all of them at the same time, it would have to make a choir, right? It would have to make a virtual choir. So the first big question was, how do I get everybody to sing at the same tempo? So first I uploaded this video along with the sheet music. The singers could download the sheet music and then follow me conducting a piece that I'd written called Lux Aurumque, which simply means light and gold in Latin. And you'll notice there's no sound to this. That's because no one was singing it yet. I was just imagining the music that would one day be in my head. I can tell you this was a very awkward day in the studio with these cameramen looking at me like I was out of my mind. And I put out the call to singers on social media, and lo and behold, singers started to upload their videos. This is Cheryl Ang from Singapore. This is Evangelina Etienne from Massachusetts. This is Stephen Hansen from Sweden. And this is Jamal Walker from Texas. There was even a small soprano solo in the piece, and so we held online auditions for it, and 60 different sopranos uploaded their videos. We chose Melody Myers from Tennessee. I don't know if you can see the top comment. It says, "You melt my face off." And now we had these videos, 185 in all, to put together and to scrub the audio. Some of the audio came in nice and pristine like this, but some of the audio had crickets in the background or ambulances. In one video, you could hear a young man's mother yelling at him in the other room saying, "What are you doing in there?" So we had to scrub all of that out. This young man named Scott Haynes emerged from the crowd, spent several months cleaning everything up, starting them all together, and 3.5 years ago we uploaded this video to YouTube. This is the virtual choir singing my composition, Lux Aurumque. In the interest of time, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And the video went viral, and singers from all over the world said, what is this? We want to be a part of this crazy thing. And so we decided to launch Virtual Choir 2.0. And in this one, we decided to sing the piece Sleep, the same piece of mine that young Britlin was singing in the fan video that she made. In this one, 2,052 singers from 58 different countries. Sorry, I'll stop it there in the interest of time. Forgive me, these are all on YouTube. Thank you. These amazing stories started emerging. People who went to unbelievable lengths to be a part of the virtual choir. There was a legally blind man who hadn't been able to sing in a choir for 30 years because he couldn't see the conductor. And for the first time in 30 years was able to get close enough to the computer screen to see my little conductor. He joined us. There was a woman whose mother was dying in hospice, and as a gift to her and as a way to honor her memory, she held her hand off screen while she recorded her video. There was even a young man from Cuba, because of internet regulations there, was not able to upload his 24 meg file to us. So he sent it to us in 24 1 meg files. We stitched it all together to make sure that Cuba could be a part of it. And a year and a half later, using the poetry of Octavio Paz, translated into English, we launched Virtual Choir 3 Water Night. (3,746 singers from 73 different countries. Forgive me. I can also tell you that it's a huge ego trip to stand in front of that many virtual singers, even if it is all video, and an extraordinary experience. In Virtual Choir 3, we had singers as young as 6, as old as 96. We had countries represented that we'd never had represented before. We had Iraq, Iran, Lebanon, Syria, Palestine, Israel, Egypt, 7 African nations. It really had become truly a world choir. And these people were coming from everywhere. There's no financial gain. There's no career boost for them. I should say we take every single video, only except for the audition solos, every single person who uploads a video becomes part of the choir. And so on our Facebook page, we asked singers from around the world, why are you doing this? What is compelling you to do this? And these 3 common answers started appearing over and over and over. The first is connecting with other, that most basic of human needs. And it's extraordinary now. There are virtual choir friends who will probably be friends for life. I either have never met or they've flown continents to meet each other. They meet up in real time. We've even had our first virtual choir engagement, young man and woman who met in virtual choir. Their videos were sort of next to each other. They're engaged to be married, so I'm assuming soon we'll have virtual babies on the way. The second was the opportunity to grow. Many of you, if not most of you, have probably been told at one time in your life that you can't sing. By a mother or a brother or, God forbid, a teacher, someone close to you said early on, please, just you don't sing. Probably most of you who are like that think that you're tone deaf. Well, it couldn't be further from the